Hello, my name's Simon Singh and I'm the author of Fermat's Last Theorem, which is now available in Turkish. And I'm here in London by the River Thames and I'm joined by my son. Hang on, there we go, this is Harry.
Hi, everything's all fine except the battery's running a bit low.
The battery's running low? We better get a move on. Here you go. Let's go quickly. Okay, right, so this is the story of Fermat's Last Theorem. That's Pierre de Fermat, French mathematician. He lived 350 years ago and he solved a problem. He solved a really difficult problem. And he wrote in the margin of a book, he said, I have a truly marvellous proof, which this margin is too narrow to contain. I have a truly marvellous proof, which this margin is too narrow to contain. So he had a fantastic mathematical proof, but he didn't actually write down the proof. And then after he died, people found this marginal note, I have a truly marvellous proof, which this margin is too narrow to contain, and they wondered what was Fermat's solution. And people worked on it for a decade, they worked on it for a century, they worked on it for centuries and centuries, haunted by this phrase, I have a truly marvellous proof, which this margin is too narrow to contain. Now eventually, there were people like Évariste Galois, famous French mathematician who died in a duel when he was only 17 years old. There were people like Sophie Germain, a woman who was a brilliant mathematician, but because she was a woman living in Paris in the 18th century, she had to disguise herself as a man in order to study mathematics. And then there were people like Paul Wolfskehl, who offered the equivalent of $1 million for whoever could prove Fermat's Last Theorem. Now, eventually, a hero arose. That hero was a 10-year-old boy. A chap called Andrew Wiles was coming home from school one day, and he went to his local library and he found a book. And the book was called The Last Theorem by E.T. Bell. And in that book, he read all about Fermat, and he read all about Fermat's Last Theorem. And he read about this phrase, I have a truly marvellous proof, which this margin is too narrow to contain. And he decided that he would dedicate the rest of his life to finding a proof. And he grew up, he became a maths student, he became a maths PhD student, he became a professor, always trying to solve this problem. And then eventually, he figured out how he was going to do it. And he locked himself away for 7 whole years. And this is where the story becomes really, really exciting.
Dad, I'm going to have to stop you there. And although this is a truly marvellous story, this battery's too flat to contain it.